Hello and welcome to this very special edition of the College Rugby Wrap Up. Matt McCarthy in New York City, and this segment, ladies and gentlemen, is only about one particular thing. The College Rugby Championship Sevens, the CRC Sevens, the National Collegiate Rugby Sevens. 3 days of fun, frolic, and great rugby over in a flash, but what an event it's going to be. And we have the utmost authority on the American college rugby landscape, Mr. John Broker, on location. John, how are you and where are you?
I am wonderful, Matt. Thanks for having me on. I'm at the Aloft Hotel in Dulles Airport at the Gonzaga High School tournament taking place all weekend here just outside of D.C. I'm with New Orleans Jesuit High School and Fairfield Prep High School joining me for this rugby wrap-up segment on the CRC.
Wow.
These guys will all be playing in the CRC in the coming years.
Wow. We got our live studio audience. Can you walk us through this big week in CRC 7/National Collegiate Rugby action?
You got it. This is National Collegiate Rugby's Collegiate Rugby Championship, Matt. Teams have been playing across the country in qualifiers all spring for the chance to go to this tournament in Maryland coming up next weekend. You saw the selection show last night. We talked about some of the brackets. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But what an amazing tournament. There are 120 teams coming across divisions. What we're going to concentrate on is the premier divisions here in the men's and women's. There are 16 women's teams and 32 men's teams in a knockout competition, Matt. That means one loss, you're out of the tournament. You have to win every game to go through. Kutztown won it for the men last year. What a showing they had going through there. Great program. They're going to try again, but there's 31 other teams that want to take them on. And it is a bounce of a ball, just a difference in a whistle, something that can end your tournament. Abby Justitis, Olympic captain, Olympic sevens player last night on the selection show, said she was never in so much more physical pain in a tunnel getting ready to go out to a game than when she was in World Cups and they were playing this knockout style rugby. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, as you say, sevens, it's an eye blink. It's not 15s. You can't hide on the field. You're exposed in an instant, and you've got that whole pressure of being perfect or not breaking, just bending, perhaps.
Absolutely. It is just unforgiving rugby out there this way.
John, walk us through some schools that people might not identify. You know, it's not like in American football. You've got some real schools that are great in rugby that you may not have never heard before. I can't even say it.
You can say it, Matt. You sound great. Don't worry. We'll talk about the women's teams first, all right? So the women's bracket, 16 teams. You have a couple of Naira teams. You have Brown, you have Army West Point, you have Navy coming up. They're a new varsity program there. Iowa, University of Iowa, plus Iowa State, University of Northern Iowa, Indiana, Navy, Texas A&M, Penn State, Montana State, Aquinas, an up-and-coming program down from the southern part of these beautiful United States, Kutztown. So a great set of women's teams there from across the country representing in this tournament.
You mentioned Iowa 3 times. What are they doing in Iowa?
There's Iowa. There's University of Northern Iowa, and there's Iowa State, all playing great rugby out there in the upper Midwest and coming out to D.C. for this tournament. It is something to see. Look for Erica Koulibaly on Iowa, tremendous player.
So what are they doing differently in the state of Iowa that they're producing these teams?
Playing sevens, man. They're running fast.
I guess that, what is it? Ethol from
corn? Corn-based rugby players. That could be it right there. So yeah, that's what's happening.
All right,
but great matchups through.
And who's coming through it, John?
You got to really look at Brown and Army coming through on top there. Kutztown is going to put up some good play. Iowa's a fantastic team. Northern Iowa had a good showing last year. Michigan's got some speedy players. But really, as a panel last night, we were looking at Brown and Army kind of coming through. Brown really building something new with Makia Parker and, Army West Point coming through with Emma Gamboa, a young player, and a really good program there. So that's the picture between Brown and Army.
And again, this is sevens, not 15s, because it's a whole different animal, because you can have 7 players that can play both codes, and all of a sudden you have a very good sevens team.
I was saying last night on the selection show, there are 16 teams here. We picked one to win between us, but there are 15 teams that can prove us wrong. So that's what they want to do next weekend.
I would say that you can win a sevens game and it's like lightning, but I don't want to tick you guys off back there, because I know that your game was delayed or your tournament was delayed because of lightning.
Yeah, lightning's a bad word down here right now, so the coaches are a little frustrated by some mid-Atlantic lightning. Hopefully it doesn't. It's not going to happen next weekend. I guarantee you at the CRC, beautiful weather.
There's a bunch of very serious faces behind you that are ready to pounce on me at any second.
I know. They're ready to go. They want you to wrap this up, so let's talk about the men.
All right, let's go to the men's bracket, John.
Men's bracket, 32 teams. Again, walking through. It's a knockout tournament. It's going to be fantastic. Let's look again, kind of some of the number ones. Indiana playing Tennessee. Indiana number 1 has 2 players playing for the U.S. national team right now, Noah Brown and Will Chevalier playing sevens with the USA. Wheeling on the other side, just a fully stacked team coming through. They are playing Howard. First time in HBCU will be playing at the CRC. It's Howard University playing Wheeling. Wheeling has players that play for Zimbabwe, players that play for Morocco, putting together a really good program there. The other number 1's Notre Dame College playing East Carolina, and reigning champion Kutztown playing Nazareth with some speedy players coming down from New York State over there. But there's matchups and later round matchups coming all the way across. Fairfield versus Thomas More. That's a replay of a very big game that they played in the NCR 15s playoff last year. Adrian's coming to play Virginia Tech. Good game there. And later rounds and that bracket could get really good. Brown is going to be there playing Navy, Queens, and Air Force. They go through with Dartmouth and Indiana. Some good later round matchups coming there. Could be a big one between Brown and Queens, a replay of a 15s national championship last year. Kutztown has to get by Nazareth. They have to get by the winner of Northeastern South Carolina, and then play somebody between Notre Dame, USC, St. Bonaventure, and Rio Grande. So there's some fantastic teams all the way across here, Matt. It is going to be just a lights out weekend.
And Queens is a great story because they're a relatively new rugby program.
They are a relatively new rugby program. They got about 6 years under the belt. Frank's doing a great job down there, putting together a wonderful program. Little international players, some good players from the South. Really putting up a good showing for that Queens team. So they should be interesting to watch all the way through. But, they'd have to get by Indiana at some point. That's no easy ask.
Hold that thought. We have to take a quick break.
Looking for your next vehicle? With Sheehy's Easy Search, choose from over 3,000 new and used vehicles. Shop, trade, or buy online or in store. We make it easy with our award-winning service.
It's easy at Sheehy. Sheehy.com.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street. And we're back. John, we've got international flavor in this tournament, as we do across the college landscape. What are some of the accents we'll be hearing during the tournament?
Oh my God, you're going to be. Wheeling has Chief Chitumbu. He's a Zimbabwe international with Aaron Chuma. A couple players from South Africa. You have Patella Vatuve, although he's American, he's a great player out of Adrian with a Polynesian background. You have Brown with a couple of English and Portuguese players there, guys who play for the Portuguese U18 team. Dartmouth has a couple players from overseas. You're going to have a really good international flavor here. You have Mate Kirakashvili on Kutztown. He lives in New York, but he's from Georgia. So interesting player there. So that's it's going to be a good international flavor, but a lot of up and coming American players as well, Matt.
And that's the not the state of Georgia. That's the country of Georgia.
The country of Georgia, yeah, totally different place.
All right, John, who's coming out of the men's bracket?
Out of the men's bracket, a lot of people have been going around. Kutztown really willed their way through. We think a lot of teams have learned that this is a knockout tournament. You play every game as if it's your last and come through. So the picks mostly went towards Indiana. They got 2 players playing for the USA right now. They're going to put up a really good showing there. I personally took Wheeling. I think Wheeling's just building this incredible international program that we think they're going to come through. There's some votes for Kutztown, but unfortunately, nobody's digging down far beyond the number 1s for this, although Lance Kavanaugh was picking St. Bonnie's and a couple other teams to be in the finals. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. Anybody can come through.
All right, John, just one last question for you.
Yes,
out of the women, who's the Cinderella? And out of the men, who's the Cinderfella?
Putting me on the spot here. The Cinderella out of the women right now is, I'd say, Navy coming through as a brand new varsity program. They're really putting something together with McCarthy down there. And let's see, on the men's side, that Cinderella story really is a building program from Adrian. Great players. Watch Patella Vatuve is phenomenal. Just keep an eye on him all weekend long. It's going to be at Boyd's Park in Maryland. If you want to come down and watch it, it's going to be on the Rugby Network. If you want to listen to my voice and a few other people, and that's going to be the CRCs next weekend.
And I'll be there as well. I'll be the in-stadium guy, so I apologize in advance for annoying you. I'll try to do as little as possible. And how many times are you going to say, "Yo, Adrian," in the broadcast?
I'm going to say "Yo, Adrian" a lot of time when I call the Adrian Bulldogs. That's going to be something I say. So.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time. I'm looking forward to this. Is going to be a special tournament. It's like March Madness all in one day.
Yeah, it certainly is. Thanks, Matt. And from Fairfield Prep and from New Orleans Jesuit, they got something they want to say. Go loud. Go nuts.
I don't know if you can hear them, ladies and gentlemen, but they just said, "You're watching Rugby Wrap Up." John, that was great, but we really didn't get any volume.
Yeah, I kind of figured they all blanked in the last second. They were standing there too long.
Yeah,
At least
no
you got
worries.
'em. They said,
And John Broker, again, thank you for taking your time. I know you got your hands full down there.
yeah, it's been my hands full, but it's a good weekend down here. It's a lot of fun, and I look forward to next weekend too, Matt. Gonna watch you run around the stadium.
All right, buddy. Looking forward to it. Again,
All right.
thanks for your time.
Thanks, Matt.
That was John Broker, who knows more about college rugby in America than anybody else combined, with his expertise and his insight. Thank you again, John. And we hope to see you at this great event. I mean, it's a party, 3 days of sevens, but they have alcohol, they have food, they have entertainment. It's going to be great. I'll see you Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You don't want to miss it. The link is right here. If you can't make it, you can watch it all live on the rugbynetwork.com. In the meantime, please check out our other shows, including The Rugby Odds, MLR Weekly. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube, sign up for our weekly newsletters, and please join our American Red Cross blood donor team.